Why are we all so stressed these days? I was talking to a friend recently who was telling me how their stress levels are off the charts right now. Work's been tough for the last few months, and as a result, they're starting to feel the pressure. They told me how every time they get into work, the stress just hits them like a wave, and they wanted my advice on what I thought they should do. Should they request a transfer to a less stressful department, go part-time, or maybe even quit the job completely? I told them that they could change something about their job, but the next job will still carry the potential to create stress. After all, life doesn't stop throwing us challenges. But the simpler and more effective thing to do would be to change the way they respond to their job. That's because stress isn't something that's external to us, that if we're not careful we might run into or get hit by. It's actually something we do. In this video, I'm going to explain to you what that actually means and how we reduce our stress levels without drastically changing our life. So welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time, I'm Timbox. I'm a mind coach, and for more than a decade now, I've been working with people to help them overcome all sorts of emotional and psychological issues. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you some simple ways of reducing your stress levels without having to take up meditation, leave your job, or actually kill someone. Okay, so as you may remember me explaining in the last video, the stress response, commonly referred to as fight or flight, happens when we feel threatened enough by our environment that our body starts to get itself ready to take immediate action. So our heart rate increases, our blood pumps faster, our breathing quickens, and our muscles start to tense up as our body pumps cortisol and adrenaline to get us ready to do something dynamic to effectively stay alive in the face of oncoming threat. This is why we often confuse those physical sensations as anxiety, because very often it's anxious thoughts that have us feeling under threat, effectively putting us into a mini fight or flight mode. Now, with all the talk these days of the long-term harmful effects of too much stress and the world seemingly evolving into an ever more stress-inducing place, it's a good idea to have some strategies in place to mitigate and control our stress levels. As with so many things, the first place to start is to understand what exactly is going on. All too often we view stress as something that exists around us. We talk about stressful environments and the impact they have when we spend too much time in them. But in truth, stress is our response to that environment, not the environment itself. It's not something that happens to us, it's something we actively do. So when a football fan watches their favourite team playing an important match, they will get much more stressed about the ebb and flow of the action than someone who has no interest in the sport. They might both be aware of the same things occurring, but it's only the person emotionally invested in what's happening that gets stressed. This is good news. This gives us agency in the process of reducing stress. We're not simply a victim of our environment, we're an active part of the process. And if the problem is something we're doing, that means we can take steps to change it. So the friend I was talking about earlier, as we discussed what he was experiencing, it became clear he was very much seeing stress as something that would hit him, whether he wanted to or not, in spite of his best efforts to dodge it. He clearly felt like he had no control of his stress levels and no say in how stressful each day turned out to be. I encouraged him to look at things slightly differently. Rather than seeing stress as the unstoppable force that actively moves towards him, I suggested he thinks of it more like a whirlwind that spins around him. Yes, this twister is full of potentially stressful things to do and take care of, but he actually starts in the center of that whirlwind, where it's completely calm. How much of the chaos he gets swept up in is down to how much of it he chooses to engage with. I encourage him to realize that potentially stressful situations can't force themselves on him. He has to actively engage in them. He has to walk into the storm. And believe it or not, he can choose not to. Avoiding the temptation to walk into the storm isn't about no longer going into work and just avoiding the stressful environment. Now, don't get me wrong, we absolutely can do that, but not everyone will feel they have the option to immediately change major aspects of their life, like their job, their relationship, or their circumstances. But it's not the situation that's doing the damage, it's how much of it we choose to emotionally engage with. I ended up giving my friend 3 simple rules to follow that would help him avoid getting dragged into the whirlwind of stress. 3 tips, easy to remember and simple to apply, to make sure that no matter how stressed everyone around him was getting, he didn't have to get dragged into the chaos. Tip 1, if it's not yours, don't grab it. Yes, there's a lot of stuff flying around in this whirlwind that is demanding attention, but guaranteed not all of it is ours to take care of. In fact, most of it is other people's stuff. Those that are caught up in the whirlwind might well try and drag you in to help them, or just demand that you care as much about their stuff as they do. But your job is to only pick out the things that are yours to deal with. All too often, a major source of our stress is worrying about things that we have no control over and caring about things that we don't need to concern ourselves with. There's no faster way to get dragged into the whirlwind than by deciding everything flying around in there is our responsibility. Tip 2. Take one thing at a time. You might find yourself looking at that whirlwind and realizing that actually there's a lot of stuff flying around in it that is mine to take care of. Most of us have many concerns in our life, and it can often feel like they're coming at us all at once. It's important in these instances to remember that we can only deal with one thing at a time, and as such, that's all we should be trying to do. It's easy to become overwhelmed when we look at everything we have on our plate as a whole. Life is much simpler and easier to navigate if we choose to focus only on the next most important thing and take one thing at a time. Ironically, putting our entire focus on a single issue at a time is generally how we get things done much faster and more effectively. Tip 3, prioritize self-care. I guarantee that no matter how effectively you carry out the first 2 tips, you will very seldom get rid of everything in that whirlwind by the time the day ends. The storm will keep raging on and new challenges and issues will continue to arise. This is why it's so important to grant yourself time away from those issues. Recognize that your top priority is not to the whirlwind, but to your own self-care. Take proper breaks from those concerns, and when you're on those breaks, avoid the temptation to be thinking about how you're going to deal with the rest of the stuff flying around in that whirlwind when you return. It's a very simple equation. You do your best when you're at your best. And being at your best only happens when you deliberately and purposefully take the action required to look after yourself. The conversation I had with my friend wasn't a long one, but after we spoke, he took action based on the things we talked about. He didn't have to leave his job, and so far his stress has never reached the levels it was at previously. We have far more control of our stress levels than we might think, and often it's the application of simple changes in the way we approach life's potential stressors that put us back in control, and ultimately make sure we don't get caught up in the whirlwind. So, has this video helped you see stress slightly differently? Are you going to be changing anything about the way you approach stressful situations? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions, put them down there too, and I'll do my best to answer them. I really hope this video has been of value. Please hit that thumbs up button if you like what I do, and why not subscribe to the channel for weekly mind management tips and anxiety advice. Remember, I'm also now doing a weekly live Q&A every Friday at 6 p.m. London time, where you can ask me your anxiety-related questions, so please join me for that. Also, you can now become a member of the channel and receive extra content every week, including video tutorials of my full system for change with extra insights and exclusive weekly live streams. Just hit the join button on the home page. But that's it for now. I'm Timbox, Mind Coach. Always remember to be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.